What's up guys, it's Alex here, your friendly reef dork, and welcome to part 2 of top 7 saltwater fish you didn't think of. When I did the first video, I actually found it quite difficult to round it down to only 7, so we're going to have a look at a few more today. Let's check it out. Number 7 on my list are pink skunk clownfish. Now common clownfish, or Nemos if you really must, are like Ford cars. They look good, they're cheap, and they have great gas mileage. Okay, I ran out of similarities, but the point I'm really trying to make is that as great as they are, everyone's got one. So if you want something a little bit different, these guys might just be the answer. They have all the traits of common clownfish, peaceful, great in pairs, reef safe, and they love an anemone, but they also have unique colouring and patterns. Now I went for designer clownfish in my tank, but these were a very close second, and I'd love to see more of them in the hobby. Now this list wouldn't be complete without a wrasse, and this one is an absolute beaut. It's also commonly known as a Papua New Guinea wrasse and has unique black and electric blue stripes sandwiching a speckled white body. The reason you don't see more of these is that they're from the genus Anthias, which are notoriously tricky to keep. The only other Anthias wrasse I've kept withered and died for no apparent reason after thriving for 12 months. But having a mature tank with an established refugium full of copepods will give you the best chance of this guy working out. Number 5 on my list of marine fish you didn't think about are Barnacle Blennies, and if this were a list of hilarious fish, they'd be top. These little guys spend most of the day in holes like barnacles, then shoot out and back in faster than the speed of light when they see food. In my opinion, every reef tank should have at least one blenny, and the beauty of these is that you can keep several together. They don't have a particularly long life expectancy, but they're suitable for nano tanks, and their quirky behaviour makes them an absolute wow factor fish. Number 4 on my list are red spot cardinalfish. Now I think this is a massively underrated shoaling fish, and the reason I say that is because most shoaling fish, like Chromis and Anthias, don't always form a particularly tight shoal, which I personally find really irritating, much like Pablo Escobar and his egrets. These guys are a different kettle of fish though. They do as they're told and swim in a nice tight shoal. The catch is that they have a bit of a reputation for not lasting that long in captivity, so definitely a fish to think long and hard about before you commit. But because of their size and behaviour, they're suitable for tanks as small as 40 gallons, and a big shoal in a bigger tank will look spectacular and will increase your chances of success. First on the podium then is a reef-safe parrotfish, and if there's a more striking multicoloured fish in the hobby, I'm yet to see it. Now not only do they look gorgeous, but they also have a permanent cheeky smile, and that makes it a real character fish to boot. I've thought very carefully about buying one of these before, and I very nearly bought this exact specimen from my local fish shop. It's not often you see one so small, as these guys can get fairly big. Now despite the teeth, they are invert and coral friendly. Some say they munch on coralline algae, but I've come across several that don't touch the stuff. If I manage to find a small one again, I'll definitely be getting one. The runner-up on my top 7 saltwater fish you didn't think of is the pyramid butterfly. Now this is the trio I had in my last tank. They're reef safe by reputation, and my 3 were model citizens. On their own, they're not quite as pretty as some butterfly fish, but the fact you can keep them in groups more than makes up for that. In fact, these guys are the only non-aggressive, large, reef safe schooling fish I've ever come across. And a group of 5 or so in a large tank would look absolutely fantastic. So if you're looking for a butterfly fish that won't eat your corals, why not get 3? And my number 1 is the Fathead or Sunburst Anthias. There's no gimmick with this fish, its main attraction is its absolutely stunning looks. And it's as photogenic a fish as I've ever seen, with a bright pink body and a lightning yellow war-painted face. They're peaceful, reef safe, and not especially difficult to look after, particularly if you get yourself an auto feeder. This is one Anthias that I would keep as a single specimen rather than in a group. They prefer lower light, so you might see them more in caves or when your lights are slightly dimmed, but most fish this pretty are either a lot more difficult to keep or coral munchers. So if you're looking for a centrepiece fish that won't cost the earth and won't die for no apparent reason, this guy is an absolute peach. So there you go then, 7 absolute stunners that might just give you a bit of food for thought. Now I'd love to hear about the more unusual fish that you love, so share them in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for future content, and until next time, I've been the Reef Dork. Thank you, good night.